Tom was a young mechanic living in a small town. He had a small garage that his father had built years ago. The walls were old, the paint was fading, and the roof had a few leaks. Even though the garage was not perfect, Tom loved it. He loved the smell of oil, the sound of tools, and the satisfaction of fixing broken machines. Every morning he woke up early and walked to the garage, ready to start his day. But life was not easy for Tom. Work was slow, and most days he barely made enough money to pay for food and bills. Many nights he sat alone in his small apartment above the garage, worrying about how he would survive. Sometimes he thought about giving up and finding another job. But the thought of leaving his garage made him sad. He could not imagine a life without fixing engines and making old machines run again. One morning, as the sun was rising, Tom swept the floor of his garage. He was tired and his arms ached from cleaning, but he enjoyed the quiet. The town was still asleep and only a few birds were singing outside. Suddenly, his eyes fell on a very old truck parked outside. It was covered in dust and rust, and it looked like it had been there for many years. The tires were flat, the paint was chipped, and the windows were dirty. Tom felt curious. There was something about the old truck that caught his attention. He wondered who it belonged to and why it was left in the yard for so long. He walked outside and looked closer. The truck had a strong shape even though it was old. Tom could imagine it running smoothly again if someone gave it care and attention. Just as he was examining it, an elderly man appeared. His hair was white and he walked slowly with the help of a wooden cane. "Good morning," the man said with a kind smile. "I see you are looking at my old truck." Tom nodded. "Yes, sir. It looks like it has been sitting here for a long time. Do you want me to fix it?" The man laughed softly. "I have been thinking about selling it, but no one wants it because it is old. If you want to try and repair it, I will pay you a small fee. But be careful, it is not easy to fix." Tom felt excited. He loved challenges, and he could not resist the idea of bringing an old truck back to life. "I will do it," he said. "I promise I will take care of it and try my best." The man nodded and handed him the keys. "The truck has been in my family for many years. It is special to me. Please be careful." Tom smiled and thanked him. He watched the man walk away slowly, his cane tapping against the ground. Then Tom went back to the garage and started planning. He looked at his tools, thinking about what he would need. He had old wrenches, screwdrivers, and a few spare parts, but he knew he might need more. Still, he felt confident. He had repaired many broken engines before, and he believed he could fix this truck too. The next morning, Tom opened the hood and examined the engine. It was covered in dust and grease, and some parts were rusty. He could tell that it had not been started in years. Many mechanics would have given up immediately, but Tom felt a thrill of excitement. He loved challenges, and this was the biggest one he had ever faced. As he worked, he discovered many problems. Some wires were broken, some bolts were missing, and the engine was very worn. He worked carefully, cleaning each part and fixing what he could. Hours passed, but Tom did not feel tired. He felt alive, focused on the work he loved. He could imagine the moment when the truck would start, when it would roar back to life, and he smiled. Days passed, and Tom continued his work on the old truck. He faced many difficulties, but he never gave up. Every night he went home feeling proud of what he had done. The truck was more than just a machine to him. It was a challenge, a friend, and a hope that better days were coming. Tom did not know that fixing this old truck would change his life in ways he could never imagine. But for now, he only knew one thing. He was ready to give everything he had to bring it back to life. Tom spent the next morning preparing his tools. He wanted to start working on the old truck properly. The sun was shining and the town felt quiet. Birds were singing, and a gentle wind moved the leaves on the trees. Tom felt calm and ready. He opened the hood of the truck and looked carefully at the engine. Rust covered many parts and some wires were broken. He touched a metal piece and it was cold and rough. The truck had been neglected for years, but Tom saw potential. He decided to start slowly. First, he cleaned the engine, using oil and cloth to remove dirt. Then he examined every wire and bolt. Some bolts were missing and a few wires were completely worn out. Tom knew it would take time to find replacements. He wrote down everything he needed in a notebook and planned his next steps. He felt excited and a little nervous because the truck was old and complicated. While working, Tom thought about the truck's history. He wondered who had used it and where it had traveled. It was more than just a machine. Tom felt a connection with it, as if the truck was waiting for him to fix it. Every scratch, dent, and rust spot told a story. Tom smiled and said quietly, "Don't worry, I will take care of you." By noon, Tom had cleaned most of the engine. He took a short break and drank water while sitting on a small wooden stool. Then he opened the doors and looked inside the truck. The seats were torn and dusty, and the floor was covered with dirt. Tom cleaned everything carefully. He found old tools and papers inside. He wondered if they were left by the previous owner. He set them aside to check later. After lunch, he focused on the tires. 2 were flat and 1 had a crack. He removed them carefully and checked the rims. The metal was strong but covered with rust. He cleaned and polished each part as best as he could. Even though it was hard work, Tom enjoyed every moment. He liked seeing the truck slowly transform from an old, forgotten vehicle into something alive. While working on the engine, Tom found a small metal box under the driver's seat. He opened it and found a few old papers. The letters were yellowed and fragile. One of them had a handwritten note that said, "Take care of this truck." "It is more than it seems." Tom was surprised. He did not know what it meant, but it made him even more determined to fix the truck. Something about it felt special, as if the truck was hiding a secret. Days passed and Tom continued his work. He replaced broken wires, polished metal parts, and fixed the engine slowly. Sometimes he felt tired, but he never gave up. Every evening he cleaned his tools and wrote down what he had done. He imagined the moment when he could finally start the truck and hear it roar. That thought made him feel proud and happy. Neighbors noticed Tom working hard and came to watch. Some smiled and nodded, impressed by his dedication. A few asked if the truck would ever work again. Tom just smiled and said, "I'm trying my best. Give me some time." He felt motivated by their support. The town was small and people knew each other. Tom felt that fixing the truck was not only for himself, but also for the town. By the end of the week, Tom had repaired most of the engine. The truck looked cleaner and stronger. The old rust was still there, but now it seemed less threatening. Tom took a deep breath and thought, "Tomorrow I will try to start it." His heart beat fast. He knew the truck had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Tom went home that night feeling tired but happy. He dreamed about the truck running smoothly, driving down the small streets of the town and making a sound that would show it was alive again. He could not wait for the next morning. The old truck was more than a machine. For Tom, it was a challenge, a friend, and a new beginning. The next morning, Tom woke up early, feeling excited and nervous. He had spent many days fixing the truck, and today he planned to try starting it. He ate a quick breakfast and walked to his garage. The sun was shining and the air was fresh. Birds sang in the trees and the town felt calm. Tom felt a mixture of hope and anxiety. He opened the garage door slowly and walked toward the old truck. It looked the same, but somehow it seemed different. The engine was cleaner, the tires were polished, and the metal parts shined faintly in the morning light. Tom took a deep breath and opened the hood. He checked the wires one last time. Everything seemed in place. He climbed into the driver's seat and turned the key. At first, nothing happened. Tom frowned but did not give up. He checked the connections again and tried once more. This time the engine coughed, sputtered, and then roared to life. Tom's eyes widened with joy. The truck shook slightly, but it ran. He smiled widely and patted the steering wheel. "You did it," he whispered. The sound of the engine filled the garage, and for the first time in many years, the old truck felt alive again. Tom decided to test the brakes and gears. He drove slowly around the garage, making small turns. Everything worked perfectly. He felt proud and relieved. The challenge of fixing the truck had been tough, but he had succeeded. He realized that his hard work, patience, and love for machines had made this moment possible. After the test drive, Tom parked the truck carefully. He wanted to clean the inside and look more closely at the parts he had not examined yet. While checking the seats, he noticed a small panel under the driver's seat. He pulled it gently and discovered a hidden compartment. His heart started to beat faster. Inside, he found old papers, a small map, and a strange-looking key. Tom picked them up carefully. He did not understand their meaning, but he felt that the truck held more than he had imagined. Tom spent the rest of the day examining the papers. They seemed very old, written by someone many years ago. The map showed places around the town and the surrounding countryside. The letters described a device hidden inside the truck, something important and valuable. Tom was amazed. He had fixed a truck, but now it seemed that the truck itself had a story, a secret waiting to be discovered. He sat on the garage floor reading the letters again. One sentence caught his attention. It said, "This truck carries more than it seems. Protect it and it will protect you." Tom wondered what that could mean. Could the truck really hold something so important? He looked at the truck carefully. Its old tires, shiny metal, and strong engine seemed ordinary, but now he knew there was more. Over the next few days, Tom worked carefully on the truck. He did not want to damage anything that could be important. He cleaned every corner, polished the metal, and checked each engine part. Sometimes he paused to think about the letters and map. The truck was no longer just a challenge for him. It had become a mystery. While working, Tom also spoke with some neighbors. They remembered that the truck had belonged to a famous inventor who lived in the town many years ago. The inventor was known for creating clever devices that helped people. Tom's curiosity grew even more. He realized that fixing this old truck had not only brought it back to life, but also connected him to a history he did not know before. Evenings were quiet, and Tom often stayed late in the garage. He worked under the light of a small lamp, carefully examining every part of the truck. He felt proud, excited, and a little nervous. He knew that the truck held a secret that could change his life. The thought of discovering it made him more determined than ever. By the end of the week, the truck was ready for a full test drive. Tom imagined driving it through the streets of the town, showing everyone that it worked again. But more than that, he felt ready to discover the hidden secret inside it. He smiled and whispered, "Tomorrow we will see what you are really hiding." The next morning, Tom woke up early with excitement. He could not stop thinking about the hidden compartment he had found under the driver's seat. The old papers, the map, and the strange key had made him curious. He wanted to learn more about the truck and its secret. Today, he decided to explore every detail carefully. Tom walked to the garage, feeling the cool morning air on his face. He opened the doors and stepped inside. The truck looked strong and ready, as if it had been waiting for him to return. Tom opened the driver's door and sat inside. He looked at the small compartment again. With gentle hands, he pulled out the papers and the key. One of the letters had a corner folded, and he carefully unfolded it. The letter was very old, and the handwriting was faded but still readable. It began with a greeting. "To the person who finds this truck, know that it carries more than it appears. Many have tried to understand it, but few have succeeded. If you are reading this, you have the skill, patience, and courage needed. Protect the truck, and it will protect you in return." Tom read the letter slowly, absorbing every word. His heart raced. The truck was no ordinary vehicle. It had a story and perhaps even a secret that was important to someone many years ago. He looked at the map again. The locations were marked with small symbols. Some were simple, like towns and rivers, but others were unusual. Tom wondered if they were clues to the secret hidden in the truck. He decided to explore further. Tom carefully checked the floor under the seats and behind the dashboard. Everything looked ordinary at first, but he remembered the letter's words. The truck was special, and he needed to be careful. He found a small tool hidden under a seat cushion. It looked like it had a specific purpose. Tom kept it close, thinking it might help unlock the secret. While working, he imagined the life of the person who had left the letter. Perhaps it was the inventor from the town's history, known for clever machines. Tom felt a connection with that person. He realized that the truck had not only survived many years, but had also been waiting for someone capable to discover its story. He smiled, feeling honored to be that person. After several hours of careful inspection, Tom decided to clean the inside of the truck. Dust covered the seats, the dashboard, and the floor. As he cleaned, he noticed another small envelope hidden behind the glove compartment. This envelope was sealed, and the paper felt thicker than ordinary paper. Tom opened it slowly and found a short note. The note said, "The key you found is not ordinary. It will open what the truck protects. Follow the map, trust your hands, and remember that the truck will guide you. Do not rush. Patience is as important as skill." Tom held the note in his hand and looked at the key. He realized that fixing the truck had been only the first step. The real mystery was yet to be discovered. He felt both excitement and responsibility. The truck had chosen him for a reason. He knew that every decision he made from now on could lead to an important discovery. Tom decided to rest for the evening. He carefully placed the papers, map, key, and letters in a small box and kept it on a shelf in his garage. He looked at the truck one last time before leaving. It sat quietly, strong and ready, waiting for the next step. Tom whispered to himself, "Tomorrow we will begin the real journey. That night, Tom could hardly sleep. His mind was full of thoughts about the truck, the letters, and the secret it protected. He imagined driving the truck, finding hidden compartments, and following the map to discover something amazing. He felt that his life was changing, and that the old, forgotten truck had given him a new purpose. Tom realized that the truck was more than a machine. It was a challenge, a teacher, and perhaps even a friend. It had waited for someone patient and skilled. Now it had found him. Tom closed his eyes and smiled, ready for the adventure that lay ahead. The next morning, Tom felt a rush of excitement as he walked toward his garage. He had spent days repairing the old truck and discovering letters, maps, and a key hidden inside it. Today, he decided to focus on the part that seemed most mysterious, the hidden compartment under the driver's seat. He opened the truck door and sat down carefully. The compartment was small and the lock looked unusual. Tom examined the key he had found in the previous letter. It was not like any ordinary key he had seen before. Its edges were uneven and it had a small, intricate design. Tom held it in his hand and turned it slowly, hoping it would open the compartment. To his surprise, the key fit perfectly. With a gentle turn, he heard a soft click. The compartment opened, and inside he found a small metal box. Tom's eyes widened. The box was heavy and cold to the touch. It had a latch that looked secure, but he carefully opened it. Inside, he discovered several old papers, a small map, and what appeared to be a device of some kind. It was shaped like a small cylinder with buttons and tiny lights. Tom's hands trembled slightly as he lifted the device. He had never seen anything like it before. The papers inside the box explained that the device had been created by the inventor who had once owned the truck. It described how the device could be used to help people by controlling machines, making them work efficiently, and even improving energy use. Tom felt amazed. The old truck had carried this secret for years, waiting for the right person to find it. He studied the map carefully. It showed locations around the town and nearby areas. Some places were marked with symbols that matched the buttons on the device. Tom realized that the truck was not only special because it ran well, but also because it had been protecting this important device. The inventor had trusted that someone like Tom would find it and use it wisely. Tom spent hours examining the device. He tried pressing the buttons and following the instructions from the papers. Slowly, he began to understand how it worked. It was complex, but he loved the challenge. Every detail mattered, and he had to be careful. He tested it with small tools in the garage. To his delight, it worked perfectly. A small engine started with less effort, and some electrical tools ran more efficiently. Tom realized that this device could truly make a difference. While working, Tom thought about the inventor. He must have been very clever to create something so useful and hide it in a truck. The inventor had planned carefully, knowing that not everyone would understand its importance. Tom felt honored that he had been chosen to discover it. He understood that this was not only a gift but also a responsibility. As the sun began to set, Tom cleaned the garage and carefully placed the device, papers, and map in a safe corner. He looked at the truck with gratitude. The old vehicle had not only brought him joy by running again, but it had also led him to a secret that could change lives. He realized that fixing the truck had been only the first step. The real adventure was just beginning. That evening, Tom could hardly stop thinking about the possibilities. He imagined using the device to help farmers with their machines, improving tools for local businesses, and making life easier for everyone in town. The thought made him smile. He had started as a struggling mechanic, but now he had found a purpose greater than he had ever imagined. Before leaving the garage, Tom whispered to the truck, "Thank you for trusting me. I will take care of what you are protecting." The truck sat quietly in the garage, strong and ready, as if it understood his words. Tom walked home that night with excitement in his heart. He knew that tomorrow he would continue his journey, learning more about the device and discovering all the ways it could be used. The old truck had been more than a machine. It had been a guide, a teacher, and a friend. It had waited patiently for the right person to uncover its secret, and now Tom was ready to use what he had found to change his life and the lives of others in his town. The next morning, Tom returned to his garage with a sense of purpose. The old truck had already changed his life in many ways. It had brought him excitement, hope, and now a secret that could make a difference in his town. Tom carefully picked up the device he had discovered in the hidden compartment. He wanted to understand it fully. He set the device on his workbench and spread out the papers and map. Reading them again, he realized that the device was not ordinary. It had been created by the famous inventor who once lived in the town. The papers explained that the inventor had built it to help people solve practical problems. It could make machines work more efficiently, save energy, and even improve the safety of tools and vehicles. Tom was amazed. He had always enjoyed fixing machines, but this device was something beyond anything he had ever seen. It was like a tool that could change the way people lived and worked. He realized that the truck had been a guardian for this device. For years, it had kept the secret safe, waiting for someone with skill, patience, and honesty to find it. As he studied the papers, Tom noticed something even more surprising. The device had hidden compartments and settings that were not immediately obvious. The inventor had designed it in a way that only someone careful and intelligent could understand. It was a test as much as it was a tool. Tom smiled quietly. He realized that the challenge had been part of the plan all along. The truck, the key, the letters, and the maps had guided him to this moment. Tom began experimenting with the device. He carefully followed the instructions, pressing buttons, turning dials, and observing the results. Small machines in his garage began to run more smoothly. He tested it on a small generator and noticed that it used less fuel but worked faster. Then he tried it on his tools and they performed better than ever. Tom felt a sense of pride and excitement. This was not only about fixing the truck anymore. He had discovered something that could truly help people. While testing, Tom realized that the device could also improve larger machines. He thought about the farms outside the town, the small businesses, and the vehicles that struggled every day. If used properly, this device could make work easier for everyone. Tom's mind raced with possibilities. He knew that he had to be careful and responsible. The device was powerful, and the inventor had trusted him to protect it. As the day went on, Tom continued to study the device. He read every note, examined every detail, and tested every function. The more he learned, the more he understood its value. This was not just a tool. It was a secret that could change lives. Tom felt a mixture of awe and responsibility. He realized that his life was no longer ordinary. He had found a purpose that went beyond fixing machines. Later that afternoon, Tom sat on a stool and looked at the truck. It had been his challenge, his friend, and now it had led him to a discovery that could help many people. He whispered softly, "I understand now. You brought me here for a reason." He smiled, feeling a connection to the inventor who had created the device. Tom knew that he had to decide how to use it. He could focus only on his own benefit, but he remembered the people in the town, the farmers and the workers who struggled every day. He felt that the inventor had trusted him not for personal gain, but to make a difference. Tom's heart was clear. He would use the device to help others, just as the inventor had intended. By evening, Tom cleaned his workbench and carefully stored the device and papers in a safe place. He felt proud, excited, and ready for the next step. The shocking truth was clear. The old truck had not only been a machine to repair, it had been a guide, a teacher, and a protector of a secret that could improve the world. Tom smiled, realizing that his life was about to change in ways he had never imagined. Tom woke up early the next morning, feeling a mixture of excitement and responsibility. The old truck had already changed his life, but now he faced an important decision. The device he had discovered could help many people, but he needed to decide how to use it wisely. He knew that the choice he made today could shape not only his life, but also the lives of everyone in his town. He walked to his garage and looked at the truck. It sat quietly, strong and reliable, as if waiting for him to make the next move. Tom carefully picked up the device and the papers he had studied over the past few days. He examined the notes again, reading every word slowly. The inventor had clearly designed the device to help people, not for personal gain. Tom felt a sense of responsibility settle in his chest. He realized that this was bigger than him. Tom thought about his town. Many families struggled every day. Farmers worked hard but faced problems with machines that did not run properly. Small businesses had tools that wasted energy and slowed down work. Tom remembered the children in the town who wanted better schools and opportunities. He knew that the device could improve life for all of them. For a long time, Tom sat quietly, thinking. He considered selling the device for money, but the thought felt wrong. The letters in the truck had taught him a lesson about trust, patience, and care. The device was meant to be used wisely, not for personal gain. Tom made his decision. He would protect the device, Learn how to use it fully and then help others. He smiled quietly, feeling a sense of purpose he had never felt before. Tom spent the rest of the morning organizing his plan. First, he would test the device on small machines in his garage to understand every function. He carefully followed the instructions in the papers and experimented with different settings. Every tool he tested ran more efficiently, used less energy, and worked safely. Tom felt proud. The device was exactly as the inventor had described. Next, Tom thought about how to help people in his town. He decided to start with the farms. Many farmers had tractors and machines that were old and inefficient. Tom could use the device to improve them. He also thought about local businesses that had tools and equipment that wasted energy. By helping them, he could make their work easier and more productive. Tom's mind was full of ideas. He realized that the possibilities were endless. In the afternoon, Tom visited the first farm in the town. The farmer, Mr. Ali, welcomed him warmly. Tom showed him the device and explained how it could improve the efficiency of the farm machines. Mr. Ali was amazed. Tom carefully tested each machine, adjusting the settings on the device. The tractors and tools worked better than ever. Mr. Ali thanked Tom and said he had never seen such results. Tom felt happy, knowing he was making a real difference. Over the next few days, Tom continued helping more people in the town. He repaired machines, improved tools, and taught others how to use them safely. Word spread quickly. People admired Tom's skill, honesty, and dedication. He had started as a struggling mechanic, but now he had become a trusted helper in the town. At the end of the week, Tom returned to his garage and looked at the old truck. It had guided him, taught him patience, and brought him to this moment. He smiled and whispered, "Thank you for trusting me." The truck sat quietly, as if acknowledging his words. Tom realized that his life had changed completely. He had gone from struggling to surviving, to thriving and helping others. The truck and the device had given him not only purpose but also respect, trust, and happiness. He understood that hard work, honesty, and patience could lead to extraordinary results. As the sun set, Tom cleaned his tools and placed the device safely in the garage. He looked around at his town, knowing that tomorrow he would continue helping people. He felt proud, happy, and ready for whatever challenges came next. The old truck had not only changed his life, but had also given him a mission, to use what he had found to make the world a better place. The next morning, Tom woke up feeling a sense of excitement and peace. The old truck had guided him through a journey he could never have imagined. It had started as a challenge, then became a mystery, and now it had led him to a purpose that was bigger than himself. Today he was ready to continue helping his town and take the device to its full potential. Tom walked to his garage and looked at the truck. It had been silent all night, resting, but now it seemed almost alive. He smiled and said, "Thank you for bringing me here. Let's make today another good day." He carefully took the device from the safe spot and placed it on his workbench. The papers and maps lay beside it, reminding him of the inventor's guidance. First, Tom decided to visit the local school. Many children in the town had old, worn-out tools for their science and technology classes. Tom brought the device and explained how it could help the students work more efficiently with their machines. The teachers were amazed. They could now demonstrate experiments and projects without worrying about broken or inefficient tools. The children watched with wide eyes as machines ran smoothly and safely. Tom felt proud, knowing he was helping the next generation learn better and faster. After the school, Tom visited more farmers and local businesses. He tested their machines, repaired broken parts, and used the device to improve their efficiency. Tractors worked faster and used less fuel. Tools were safer and more reliable, and small machines ran without interruptions. People in the town were surprised and grateful. They had never seen such results from one simple device and the skill of a mechanic. Word spread quickly. Neighbors began visiting Tom's garage to see the truck and the device. They wanted to learn from him and understand how he was able to help so many people. Tom patiently explained the process and encouraged others to take care of their machines. He realized that teaching and sharing knowledge was as important as fixing and improving the tools themselves. One afternoon, Mr. Harris, the elderly man who had owned the truck, visited Tom. He smiled warmly and said, "I see that the truck has chosen well. You have done more than I could imagine. You have helped many people and you have respected the gift I left in your hands." Tom felt grateful and happy. He realized that the trust the old man had shown him was part of the journey, and he had honored it with honesty and care. As weeks passed, Tom's life changed completely. His garage became busy, but it was no longer a place of struggle. It was now a hub of learning, helping, and improving the town's machines. Tom earned enough to live comfortably, but he valued the respect and gratitude of the people even more. He felt proud that his passion and skill were making a real difference in the community. The truck, too, became a symbol of hope and hard work. Children admired it, neighbors respected it, and Tom treated it with care every day. It had started as an old, forgotten machine, but now it had become a treasure, a guide, and a friend. Tom realized that fixing the truck had changed more than just the vehicle. It had changed him, his life, and the town around him. One evening, as the sun set, Tom stood outside his garage and looked at the streets of the town. People were smiling, working efficiently, and helping one another. He felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The journey that began with a rusty old truck had led him to discover not only a hidden device but also his own purpose. He understood that determination, honesty, patience, and care could create something extraordinary. Tom smiled and whispered to the truck, "You gave me more than work. You gave me purpose, respect, and a life I never imagined." The truck sat quietly in the garage as if acknowledging his words. Tom knew that life would continue to bring challenges, but now he had the tools, knowledge, and heart to face them. He had started as a struggling mechanic, but now he was a guide, a helper, and a respected member of his town. Tom returned to his workbench, ready for the next day. He carefully arranged the device, papers, and tools, preparing for another day of helping others. He realized that the journey with the old truck had been just the beginning. A new life had started, a life full of purpose, hope, and the joy of making a difference.